There are plenty of issues facing our Defence Force, from recruiting and retaining troops to worries over procurement and preparedness for war. The Australian reports that the Army's new $13 billion armoured vehicle fleet will be vulnerable to killer drones. None of the Army's Boxer combat vehicles, Abrams tanks or infantry fighting vehicles have been ordered with counter-drone systems. That's despite anti-drone technology being made right here, including this system.
Firing 3, 2, 1, firing out.
That is where this Australian-made counter-drone system comes in. This is called Slinger. It's designed to track and shoot down drones at a fraction of the cost of missiles.
Let's bring in Peter Leahy, the former Chief of Army, now Director of the National Security Institute. Good to talk to you, Peter. First up, just how urgent is this lack of capability for our armed forces in defending against drone attacks?
Chris, I think it's quite urgent. We just don't have these capabilities, and we're seeing every day on television the threat. Just the other day, what happened in Jordan with 3 United States servicemen killed. We're seeing it in the Ukraine every night. We're seeing it in the Red Sea with what the Houthis are doing. And we just don't have the capabilities to defend ourselves with counter-drone capabilities. And it's not only just the vehicles, but if we were deployed forward with a maintenance area or some sort of base, we don't have the capability of defending that either. So it really does preclude a range of actions that we might like to take. So we need to do something urgently.
Yeah, if we had naval vessels or aircraft or helicopters deployed somewhere, we would need to protect them from drone attacks as well. And the point is, Peter, clarify this for us. Isn't it the case that all the technology is there available off the shelf now? It's not. It's just a matter of us working out what we need to procure and aligning it with our own platforms?
That's pretty much it. There's some good Australian kit available. There's stuff from overseas as well. So it's not as though we don't know what we want. We can have a look, and we need to apply the capital acquisition process to this urgently, because this would be one of those sorts of things, if you didn't have the capability, it would preclude you doing things that you would want to do as part of your whole range of activities, both in the region and elsewhere.
Just, yeah, spot on. Just a couple of other things while I've got you there, Peter. First up, the trouble across the Defence Forces in recruiting staff and keeping them. Just how urgent has that become? How dire is that situation?
I think it's very dire. We're seeing it in the 3 services and also in the civilian workforce. They've had a target now of increasing to upwards of 40,000, I think, in about 10 years' time. Well, the numbers are going backwards. We don't even look as though we can achieve that. So we've got to be very careful. The government's just taken some steps around retention, but I think we've got to look at this recruitment side of things. But we've got to be upfront and say this is about serving the nation. This is about service and sacrifice and making a commitment to your country. I think we've got to look at some new ways of getting people in, and I rather like what the US do through their GI Bill, which is if you do 4 years in the military, okay, that's your uni degree. That takes away some of the HECS problems, a range of other activities like that. But I think it's important that we also accentuate the importance of serving the nation, and that doesn't seem to be there at the moment. We seem to have people who are more interested in their own self-indulgence rather than doing something for their community.
Yeah, I think there's a lot in that, but those incentives, I think a long-term incentive would be useful. And the Army and all forces need also young digital savvy people because of the equipment and the changing technology in defence as well, I would presume. Just quickly also, I wonder if you can put on your strategic hat and tell us what you expect the US to do when it comes to hitting back at Iran over the killings by drone again in Jordan, but also, of course, what it's doing in the Red Sea.
I expect that they'll react, and we've heard that from President Biden today. He and his staff are saying, well, we will respond. They're being a bit coy about what they'll do. You don't want to telegraph your punches.
No, they don't. Would you expect? Sorry, would you expect a retaliation that would actually occur on Iranian soil, or will it be via these proxies like the Houthi or some such?
I think it'll be by the proxies, and it's interesting. The people who look as though they've done this, they've actually said, well, listen, let's cool it a bit. We don't want to involve Iran. So I think there's some sensible talk going on there. But this is part of a wider conflagration throughout the Middle East, what the Iranians are doing with their proxy wars all across that, we'd call it the Shia crescent.
Yep.
But we also see things happening elsewhere. Iran, stay away from that as much as we can. But of course, the problem is, and the Americans' focus will be on the fact that they either got or will soon get a nuclear weapon. And that really tunes the Americans to say we've got to do something about it.
Yeah, and the Israelis as well are incredibly focused on that, understandably. Thanks so much, Peter. It's been great to get your insights. I appreciate it. Peter Leahy there, the former Chief of Army.